DW Africa Link.
I believe more women should be involved in politics. I mean, why shouldn't they be? Politics works best when it reflects the experiences of the whole population, not just half of it. Yet in Nigeria, women make up nearly half the population, but hold only a small fraction of political offices. So what difference could greater female representation make? And how could it impact the lives of ordinary Nigerians? That's what's coming up. I am Eddy Micah Jr, and you are welcome to Africa Link, the podcast connecting you to the stories that matter.
Africa Link, every weekday here on DW.
Nigeria is a country where women help drive families, communities, businesses, and much of the economy. Yet when it comes to political power, they remain largely underrepresented. That contradiction is at the heart of a growing debate, with First Lady Oluremi Tinubu arguing that Nigeria cannot reach its full potential if half its population is left on the political sidelines. So why does that gap persist, and what would it take to change it? Let's get some answers from Ambassador Dr. Haphsat Ibrahim Modibbo, an aspirant for senator under the ruling APC party. And I also have DW's Ben Shemang in Abuja, Nigeria. Welcome to Africa Link, both of you. Doctor, how would you describe the current political environment in Nigeria regarding women's participation?
Thank you for welcoming me. I can say globally, women participation is underrepresented. As we all know, worldwide, just about 27.5% at the national parliament. And then you come into even to the regional side of the women participation in politics. You see places like the Latin America and Europe, you have about just 33%. And then you go to like Central Asia, you have like 17%. Coming to Africa itself, you see you have about 25% in places for women representation in their parliaments, like in places like Rwanda is almost about 63%, and then you have places like Tanzania where a woman is even ruling. But in Nigeria in particular, you have only 3.3% female representation in the political system, especially in the parliament, which is not encouraging, and it's disheartening.
That really sounds low, the situation in Nigeria. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, you see, in Nigeria, we have so many factors. They are multifaceted that are hindering women from participating in politics in Nigeria. Some of it are cultural. Cultural, you see that like in part of our culture, especially in the northern Nigeria, you see they will say a woman is not supposed to be in the forefront. She's supposed to be behind the man. You understand? That is a man that leads. A woman's duty is only to enter the kitchen, as they always say. And then you see economically, there's that barrier too at the same time. And then the women are facing even the security issues, voters patronage, it's also there. And then political violence. And then you also look at the religious aspect of it, I know there's one particular woman that came out to vie for governorship, and they said, they related to the religious aspect of it, that if you allow your woman to go and lead the men, so what and they fix a meeting like around 2 a.m. or 1 a.m., how will she now come and attend to her cabinets? And how will some of the obas or the emirs will come and bow under her or stay with her to interact with her? It's part of the barriers. And then also the patriarchal structure. There are so many factors that women are facing in the political arena for them to participate actively inside the politics.
You yourself are a politician. What's been your motivation to enter politics? What has kept you going, considering all these challenges?
Thank you very much. And this is an interesting question. There's one time I granted an interview when they saw me in the southern part of Nigeria with my veil. I went for a conference and they say, how managed did I come even for the conference? That was the first question a reporter asked me. And I said, well, in the northern Nigeria, and as a Muslim from the Muslim background, my parents, they have been enlightened right from day one, and they've been traveling all over. That's the reality. And they saw how women participating in the economic aspect of life, the political aspect, the education, name it, because they always tell us that what a man can do, a woman can equally do, or not better, can equally do. So you see from the background, my grandfather was even a politician, and my dad at the same time, my father of a blessed memory, Elijah Ahmadi, So they encouraged us to go into politics, because when I was growing, my father was supposed to be the coordinator of, during the period of Shehu Shagari, the coordinator of new NPN, that's 1979. And my grandfather also has some wards under him, almost about 5. I'm from a ruling family, Galadima family. And when we're growing, so my father, the moment you reach the age, he will go and register for you. You have to go and vote. That's not even by your choice. You must go and vote. All of us will have card. And I saw my senior sisters, they were the returning officers from all this Nadeco, they were interactive. And I saw my senior brothers during the voting time. You see them, they are very busy. So, and then he happens to educate us, all the male and the female. So right now, as I told you that I am a PhD holder and I'm not the only one, we have a lot of people that are enlightened. So we have traveled all over, and they said the only thing they can leave for us is for us to develop ourselves. And when we develop ourselves and then we have the education, we are good to go, because even Islam says, go to China and seek for education. So participating into politics will not deviate me from my religion, or, it will only make me to be grounded. You understand? So that's what even encouraged me from my background to the present situation, that yes, I have to go into politics, because I had the encouragement, although they are not longer alive, but we have to keep the system going.
Right. Thank you very much for sharing that inspirational personal story with us. But now let me go to Ben. Ben, it's because of all of these challenges that women are facing, as has been highlighted by Haphsat, that the government, at least on paper, seems to be making moves, right? We're talking about the reserved seats for women bill as some sort of affirmative action to increase or encourage women's participation in politics. What's the status of that? How's it going? What's the debate around that?
Yeah, you see, this bill is called Special Seats for Women Bill in the National Assembly here in Nigeria. Now, it is there on paper, surely. Once in a while, it's brought for discussion. But since this election, campaign started as to Nigeria is moving towards 2027, you see that is rather being kept in abeyance, because those who are supposed to ensure that the bill is passed into law are also fighting for their political lives in their different constituencies. So the women, yes, at the point they will rally, they'll have some group discussions, they'll march to the National Assembly and say they deserve to have this kind of a right because of this male domination. So it's like people writing an exam, you are hoping you will pass, and it is just being kept in suspense.
What does that really say about the importance being put on that bill?
The bill has not been passed into law. It's still in Parliament, so to speak. Therefore, the importance of it is very, very vital, because when one speaks with Nigerians in the streets, usually they'll just say, look, women would just have to occupy very important positions, sensitive positions, because they can also contribute in terms of the economy, in terms of security. They begin to point out that Ngozi Iweala, who is at the World Trade Center, many ministers of finance that were women, senators and all that stuff. Even in the military, we have women who are generals, just like very top echelons of the police force. But this bill is actually kept in abeyance, surely. It's not yet passing through the National Assembly.
Thanks for that, Ben. Recently, the First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, basically encouraged women to step forward, encouraged women to enter politics. I'm wondering what the debate is on the ground. What is the public opinion on the issue of women in politics? How's it looking, Ben?
Yes, there is the support, especially on the side of the Gen Zs. They always want women too to have a test of this politics to see whether things can turn around. Sometimes they even go into statistics and say those who have spoiled Nigeria are mostly the men who are from 50 downwards, you know, and so they feel that the women should have a bite at it. Then we also have some programs going on. You have gender agenda. You can imagine gender, meaning that the women must have their place. You see these programs on televisions here and there. And that was why too, when women had to go for a meeting with Olure Tinubu, a senator, a 3-time senator, she said, look, it goes beyond sentiments of gender. We're talking about democracy, and democracy is a game of number. If all the women can come together and they get some fractions from the men, of course they will reach where they want instead of always begging or waiting. Come out and participate, hold town hall meetings, go to the grassroots, and if you go to the markets, the women are just dominating. So why are they not taking advantage of all of this? So there are calls, but in reality, the
To those that say, well, no one is stopping women from going into politics. Just get in and give it your best shot.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to say that giving a barrier to women participation in politics does not even occur, because we must go in. We must go in. We are mothers. We are wives. We are sisters. And you know the role women play in the society. We are cushioning a lot of things. As a married man, you know, when you come back from outside and there's it was so hazy or tensed up, when you come back, you are going to be relieved a bit. So we are qualified in any way that it takes, because in the economy, when you go to the forefront, you go to the villages or the communities where we are being attached to our grassroots, you see the majority of women are the farmers. They go and produce the farm produce and bring it to the market to sell. All this one is just to encourage the family living standard. And then at the same time, when you go during the voting period, you see all there, as the First Lady said. But sometimes we have a barrier among us that, yes, it's a woman problem is a woman problem. I want to come to myself and cite an example. As I told you earlier, that I am educated, because the woman you are speaking to, she has 2 degrees. You know, she has 3 postgraduate diploma, 4 postgraduate diploma. She has 3 masters, and she has PhD. And I've traveled across. And I've attended courses in leadership. I've held offices, at least. So what makes somebody to think that we should remain behind? Because we still manage the house and the offices that we are being given. Economically, you know, decision makings, you meet women there, because where even some fracas happen, you see that it's a woman that would now go and intervene. She will be like a mediator in that place. So as far as I'm concerned, we must enter inside the politics and participate roughly or with our efforts, so that we'll be seen and will be appreciated.
Are you surprised that the reserved seats for women bill hasn't passed yet? What's the holdup, you think?
It's a male-dominated area. Do you understand? Where they think that the women should just be relegated. You understand? And I would tell you categorically, truly speaking, why, if I have an NGO that is the Ahmed Galadima Foundation in the name of our father, of a blessed memory. In this NGO, we train women in entrepreneurship and then in agripreneurship on how to add value to their agri-produce. And then by the time you do this additional value, you are improving the life standard, because economy, the way they are going to sell the raw material is different from the way they are going to sell the value-added products. You understand? We visit the IDP camps. When you move, most time when I visit the IDP camps in my place where people are displaced from their comfort zone, as you know, you see mostly the majority are women that are coming to sympathize with their fellow women, you know. And when you, at the same time, you know, we are the ones that are giving birth to the children. You see, the children outside, they're under the NGO too. I have like social vices about drug misuse and drug abuse, and we talk about psychotropical substances because it's our children. When the woman is sound and her mind is at rest, the brain is at rest, she produces good family. And when they go out to the society, they are going to be good. You understand? Even on that is I speak motivational speaking to the younger ones on how to achieve their motives. Because when I was young, I said my target is I want to have a PhD so that I will impact positively in the society.
To be honest, I find it very silly, that sort of reasoning that women should steer clear of politics and theirs is just support the man and take care of the family, the home, the kids. I'm not trying to paint myself as a good guy per se here, but I just find it ridiculous because I don't think politics is meant for a particular gender. It is meant for people that can do the job, whatever the job is, right? And there's nothing biological or scientific that says a woman can do this better than a man or a man can do this better than a woman. If someone is qualified, let them do the job. And I'm sure, Ben Shemang, you agree with me, don't you?
Absolutely, because there's no way we say every role should be played by a man. Neither are we also saying every role should be played by women. Like it is said in Africa Palace, when the right hand washes the left hand also washes the right hand, and they become cleaner for it. And that is what it's supposed to be, that in terms of service providing, in terms of making society better for citizenry, it should be for all human beings to be on deck. Everyone should therefore contribute their quota. That's what functionalism is all about. Everyone functions, everybody brings their own role to ensure that society develops. That is the story.
Ahead of the next election cycle in Nigeria, are you sensing any change? I mean, again, it's good that the First Lady of Nigeria, Mrs. Tinubu, is encouraging women to get into politics. Do you sense a wave of encouragement overall, or a sense that women are getting more and more involved or getting excited to jump into politics based on your reporting and all the people you've been speaking to?
Well, you see, Eddy, honestly, it's a different ballgame here in Nigeria. In 1999, when the election came on board, many lawmakers were there as women. And when you're talking about appointments, there were so many as ministers and also heading positions of authority. But as we are talking today, let me tell you something. At the federal level, talking of the National Assembly, there are 109 senators in all, but only 4 are women. That is abysmal. The number of women participation is going down, down, down. And when you're talking about 36 states of the federation, each state has a state assembly. And if you combine all the seats there are 991 in all. But when you look at the number of females in there, they are just 45. So therefore, the number keeps reducing and reducing. And politics is also becoming too rugged for very many women. And I have a fear that 2027, the women might still have so much a reduced number when it comes to politics in Nigeria.
Haphsat, that doesn't sound good at all. From what Ben says, the number is going down even rather than up. I don't know if you have a different view of that. But as we wrap this up, then I want to find out from you 2 main things. There are some women that are citing intimidation, violence as deterrents, preventing them from entering into politics. What kind of protections or reforms do you believe are urgently needed to tackle this?
Thank you, sir. First of all, there should be a deliberate ascending of bill, just like the way I am. I'm a lecturer in Rwanda, lecturing in the university, because when you look at Rwanda, about 3% of women are all represented in the upper chamber and the lower chamber, and they are good to go. You understand? So there's no way we can forge ahead or we can progress. There should be a deliberate ascending of a passage of bill, and then the president should ascend it. Because this political violence, that's part of the things that they intimidate us with it seriously. You understand? And then at the same time, there should be that enlightenment by our religious leaders that their wives should be allowed to participate in politics. When there's good awareness, do you understand? That encouragement will come, and then the violence will now be reduced. The preaching about violence should also go on, because I also preach about peace, conflict and resolution. It's part of my NGO. You understand? And then at the same time, there should be financial supports. Look, for example, now this one that they sell the form to us, before they used to encourage women by giving them even free forms or just to pay for expression of interest. But this time around, they said you must pay 50%. For example, if the man is paying 100 million, you are going to pay 50 million, minus the other things. So all this kind of thing, and women are under, they don't have so much money because our hands are tight. You get it, you spend it in the whole family. So all things should be deliberate, you understand? And the political violence at the same time, by the time I say our mind is at rest, we are going to encourage our children that don't participate. Because when the food is coming from outside, sir, from the husband or from the mother, definitely the children will go to good school, they will be educated. And the social vices are going to be reduced. And the women will not have fear in their mind that if I go in, this is what is going to happen. Sometimes you just see that like as if, you go out to participate, when you are going home, you may think somebody is accosting you behind just to, leash you, because they have toggery. They have talks that are working for them, which is not good for our society. That's why you see the number is just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking day by day. Since we have about this 7th democratic election, since 2000, up to today, 2000 up to 2023, women number are just going down. Even our mama, the wife of the president, she should assist at the same time, because women, you say she for she and also she for he. One person cannot do it, but together we can forge ahead, we can move forward, and the society is going to be good. I happen to travel in so many countries that you see everywhere that a woman is in the front, you will always have peace. You will always have peace, because women are doing dialogue, they mediate, they are the bridge builders, they are advocacy and education, because in the house, we educate our children. So in the post-conflict, you meet women there. Even in empowerment, you meet women there. You understand? So at the grassroots, we meet women there. Women are the center of peace. So there should be support in all angles.
From all that you've said, and agreeing with Ben that the number of women participation in politics in Nigeria is even going further down, you really highlighted what you believe should be done now practically to help encourage and protect women that get into politics. And I think that's very loud and clear. How optimistic are you that in the next 5 to 10 years or so, women participation in politics is going to start rising?
Thank you. We talked about the reserved bill. This reserved bill came up as a result of the underrepresentation of women. I believe by the time, as I said, when the bill is being passed in the National Assembly and the president ascended his signature on it and they implement it, definitely women, we are going to be cautioned a bit, from the male counterpart. But because it says, go and look for education, as I said in Islam, it does not say that a man or a woman, or in the house, it said that this role is for the man or this role for the woman.
Right. Thank you very much, both of you, for contributing to this discussion. And look, then it's clear there's a problem. And so something has to be done as soon as possible. Thank you very much, Ambassador Dr. Haphsat Ibrahim Modibbo, aspirant for senator under the ruling APC party. And many thanks to you, Ben Shemang, our correspondent in Abuja, Nigeria. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu recently told thousands of women that their role in nation building is no longer optional. It's central. That's a strong backing voice. What are others saying?
So first of all, in the part of the world that we come from, unfortunately, it's a male-dominated sport, mainly because men seem to have the financial capacity in comparison to women. Secondly, I would say, unfortunately, women do not give the necessary support to fellow women. And I'm not saying just give support simply because you are from the same gender extraction. I'm saying give support because you feel that this is a competent candidate. However, there's also a cultural context to it where a lot of women have been conditioned to believe that men would fare better in the political space in comparison to women.
Nigerian women have the numbers, the influence, and the talent. What many still lack is equal access to political power. The reserved seats bill could be a step forward, but real change will require more than a new law. It will take political will, party support, and a commitment to opening up leadership spaces. What do you think? Share your thoughts with us on Facebook at DW Africa. Listen on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And subscribe to our DW Africa YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. This show was co-produced and edited by Isaac Mugabe, and I am Eddy Micah Jr. Thanks for listening.
DW, made for minds.